Joining us now is Peter V'landys from Racing New South Wales. Pete, you're a busy man. We certainly appreciate your time. Look, it's quite extraordinary that racing is still forging ahead in these circumstances. I've got to say, I'm stoked. I'm proud. You must be thrilled that we're at day 2 of the championships.
Look, I'm very proud because the industry has really risen to the occasion. When we needed them the most to cooperate, they've cooperated. They're self-isolating. They're doing everything possible at the race courses to segregate and have social distancing. I think the reason for the success has been the industry itself, the cooperation, and they know how important it is that we continue racing for the 50,000 plus participants and for themselves. And we couldn't have done it without them. And look, all the staff at Racing New South Wales and the race courses, and in particular the ATC, have been fantastic. It's a real team effort. We learned a lot from equine influenza, and we were able to implement it again in this crisis. It's probably a bigger crisis than equine influenza, but we learned a lot from that experience. We had an apprenticeship there, and now we're really got the trade with this crisis.
And Pete, looking ahead, just a few weeks ago we were talking about 22.5% or thereabouts of an infection rate. It's dropped to 1 odd percent. I don't know what it is today, but that's what it was yesterday and around that the day before. It gives us confidence and hope that we will race on not only through the autumn carnival, but the winter and hopefully ease into spring, because I know this is not only great for all of us that love and work in this industry, but all the people that love watching it and get involved.
Absolutely. And look, when we were racing, it got up as high as 25-26%, the infection rate in New South Wales. And you're right, it's down to about 1.7% at the moment. So the risk is a lot less now than what it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the New South Wales government has been exceptionally supportive of us. When they introduced the health order for all the social distancing and all the measures that they put in place, they specifically exempted racing so we could continue on. And without government support and without the support of the industry, this would not have been possible. And we've proven we can do it. And I think it's a good example for other sports that how you can do it without having any risk to the community. We're at no risk at all to any part of the community because of these biosecurity measures we have in place. So hopefully we can continue on. But I'm a realist. Things can change overnight, and we get a positive, and that really causes a lot of grief. But at the moment, we've just got to be positive and plough on.
Pete, talking to Chris Waller, I was out at his stables yesterday. All the stables have implemented the measures that they're individually taking. But, he said himself in recent weeks that he's felt the safest at the track because of everything that is in place there. Do you think EI has set you up for this, the equine influenza, to really manage it as best as possible?
Look, we learned a lot from equine influenza. And everything we learned from there, we've used again. And I agree with Chris Waller. It's probably safer being at the racecourse than it is to be in a supermarket because of all these biosecurity measures. We take everyone's temperature, we segregate the jockeys, and that's just a couple examples. I believe a jockey went to visit someone in hospital and thought that Rose Hill was a lot safer than what it was visiting the hospital with the biosecurity measures. And that's the reason why racing is still going, because we have these measures in place and minimise the risk to all levels. So again, I can only thank the participants for cooperating and allowing us to continue.
It's a real nod to the people in the industry, isn't it? We often speak colloquially about, horse racing people are a different breed, and everyone has come together so wonderfully well. It's been a real human test. I know there's been some tragedy and we've seen that all around the world, but this period has also seen a real humanistic side, Peter. Yes,
it has. And, people are helping each other. That's what I've seen from it. In any crisis, you see true character. And the true character of a lot of people in the racing industry has shown up, how they help each other, the kindness they've shown, the thoughtfulness they've shown. And so, out of every negative thing that comes in our lives, some positives come out of it. And I think the positive out of this is how people are sticking together, being thoughtful about each other and being kind to each other. And you can't ask for more than that.
Well, not only is racing going ahead, but this year the Sydney Carnival attracted 31 international entries. We've got world-class fields assembling at Royal Randwick. It is another cracking day of racing today. I mean, you look at that Queen Elizabeth Stakes lineup. It's great.
I've never seen better quality races than what we've had in the last 2 weeks with no crowds. It's quite disappointing that we can't have the crowds because the races have been so competitive and the fields have been such quality. And again today, I'm really looking forward to seeing this Japanese horse. My vet said he's never seen a horse as powerful looking as this horse. And if he performs to the way he looks, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. And because he's in the field, we're also telecasting these races to Japan. And Japan is, one of the most powerful racing jurisdictions in the world. So there will be significant betting on Australian racing today in Japan. And last week in Hong Kong, it was a record for an Australian meeting, how much was turned over in that jurisdiction. And they're taking the races again today. So not only is it in Australia that our races are being followed, but in international jurisdictions and powerful jurisdictions in Hong Kong and Japan.
Oh, absolutely, and because they are in self-isolation, they're seeing this as a moment of national pride, the Japanese. So we are definitely on the world stage today, Peter, and it sets it up as we have another couple of weeks of fantastic racing here in the autumn for another cracking spring just around the corner, and hopefully Racing Dreams, the Everest, it will be back.
Oh, definitely will be back. We can't do without it now. You've got to like an addict, so we've got to have it back. But look, I just hope that the influenza is eradicated, and by the time that the Everest and the Golden Eagle and all our big spring races come up, that we may be allowed to have crowds. But looking at it at the moment, that's probably highly unlikely. But this crisis changes so dramatically each day. You really can't predict. But the government's done a fantastic job getting it down from the 25% high down to the 1.7%. And if that decrease continues, there's a chance come October, November that the spring may not be as affected as much as what the championships have been.
Well, fingers crossed, we can only hope. And thank you again for your time, Peter V'landys. We certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure.